Hey guys, welcome to another short first flight tutorial. I just downloaded this from the Explain store. It's the Bell 206 by CowanSim. I'm pretty excited about this one. First of all, it's a sort of a Christmas present. It's been crazy these last few weeks. We had 4 helicopters coming out for Explain. The MBB, Messerschmitt Böckhoff Blom, BO 105. The Augusta 109, I think it was. Haven't tried that one yet. And of course the Fly Inside Bell 47G, and this one, it's the Jet Ranger. I've been looking forward to this because I've been flying the Dodo Sim a lot, and I know this helicopter pretty much inside and out. Had a lot of fun with it in FSX, and I always wondered what would happen if you sort of combine the exterior 3D modeling of the Dodo Sim with the flight characteristics of Dreamfoil's 206 for X-Plane 10, and maybe CowanSim will get us there now. So I'm pretty excited how this one is going to turn out. Just loaded this flight up. We're in Praslin. Gonna probably go over to the helipad on La Digue Island and just check out how this thing flies. So I think the startup procedure will be realistic enough. So let's go ahead and give it a go. Just for your information, I have had no look in the manual, just for you know, the usual sort of the usual setting up within X-Plane. I'm just going to try to start this as I know how to start a Jet Ranger, and we're going to see how that works. I'm currently mobile now. It's Christmas. I don't have much time because family is waiting, of course, but I sort of sneaked away to do this premiere. So let's get those headsets out of the way first. Then we're going to untie the rotors, remove tie downs. So now let's check our controls. Collective works, cyclic works. However, our pedals don't seem to work. Alright, I'm back. It was my X-Plane toe brake to yaw setup plugin that I had to disengage. Alright, let's start up the battery. Now we have the low RPM warning horn, which we can mute here. Fuel pump generator fail. Let's check our caution lights. That's good. Make sure our fuel valve is on, which it is. Let's set the altimeter to field altitude, which should be probably around 0 feet or something. Pretty close to sea level. You can see the ocean over there. Let's check for hydraulics, that they're on. They are very important to put them on. Now we should hear a warning horn here. We don't, however. Alright, that's open. That should be closed. Alright, now we are going to make sure the rotor brake is disengaged and switch on the fuel pumps and our anti-collision lights, of course. Quick check, all the circuit breakers are in. We can also already hear the fuel pumps working, which is nice. And then we are going to hit the starter. Just make sure I have a starter button assigned. Startup command. Alright, I do. Let's see how that works. Alright, let's check up button 3. Maybe it has a specific startup command. Yep, there it is. Buttons. Toggles. Starter button. Alright, let's try that again. About 13%. Just add in a little. And if there should be a hot start, you should abort the startup procedure. Just close the throttle and keep the starter depressed. until the temperature goes back to, I think, 150 or something. It's the Ellison 250 turbine, just like in the MD 500. Now, once the engine outlight is gone, you can release the starter button. Looks good. Do we get vibrations on that yellow line here? Not really. It tells me I hot started, even though I didn't see that. Didn't see any hot start. Also, the aircraft doesn't show me anything. Sound is pretty good, actually. Now let's reset this thing. Alright, let's give it a go again. Don't know what happened there. I didn't see a hot start, actually, but... Alright, fuel valve is closed, hydraulics to on, anti-collision light is a go, and activate fuel pumps. All other circuit breakers in. Good. Let's check that the throttle is closed. Alright, and start her up again at 30%. Now let's check the TOT temperature, the turbine out temperature. Now we're going to wait for the engine out light to extinguish. There we go. Then we can release the starter button. Gonna wait for the rotors to spool up. The sound is pretty good. I'm impressed. Don't really need that tab here, but for now, let's just keep it at that. Turbine out temperature looks good. Just giving a little bit more throttle here. Center the cyclic for a short moment. Now we're at 70% torque, which means we can activate the generator. Alright, and we sort of let it warm up for 1 minute. TOT light test. There's a radar altimeter, an OBS. It's pretty much all there. We have the Garmin installed, but we don't need it today. So we probably will need to enable the avionics. So avionics to on. Pitot heat we won't be needing. Should be a directional gyro, I think. So all circuit breakers are in. Floats, we don't need those. Probably would though. I'm noticing quite an impact on my frame rates with the screen capture software running, so this one is probably a little bit more hefty on the frame rates. Alright, let's throttle her up. Should keep the torque below 40 while bringing it up. Now we could do a needle split test, which, you know, the needle splits, everything's good. Yeah, notice the governor is pretty sensitive on CowanSim helicopters. Alright, so basically we're good to go. I'm excited. Switch on the landing light. And let's hover over to the runway. Now, left pedal is the power pedal. And I'm going to expect it to the center position of the cyclic to be a little bit to the left and aft. We'll see. And slowly, raise collective slowly here. You can see, we will see how it behaves. Nice. A little bit sensitive, but I'm on my mobile setup, so the joystick is a small one. Left's get low, as it should be. And let's set her down right in front of the runway here. We're down. Well, I would have expected it to be a little bit more on the... It's pretty responsive, actually. I would have expected it to be a little bit more dull, so to speak. A little bit laggy, you know, this being a two-bladed teetered rotor system. It's pretty similar to the MD500 by CowanSim, actually, as regards sensitivity. That was just a quick replay of our touchdown. Fair enough. Now let's get going. I'm gonna quickly recalibrate my joystick here. It might be that it is a little bit off. Alright, let's check it out now. A little bit to the left. A little left. It's very sensitive. I mean, it's a joy to fly so far, but I would have expected it to be just less sensitive than it is. So I'm gonna do a quick hover, maybe a pedal turn. Let's do a pedal turn to the left here. There's ETL. Seems that I just need a little more pedal than I thought. Okay. Now usually if you're pulling about 75 to 80% torque, you will get probably 100 knots and a little bit more if winds favor you on the Jet Ranger. Easing off on the pedal now. Okay. Centered. I can pull more torque here. Raising the collective, but not too much or you blow the engine, so the Jet Ranger is not a very powerful machine. Yeah, so far it flies great. It's a little bit more sensitive than I would have imagined. I mean, I'm on my mobile setup, so I have a Microsoft Sidewinder Force Feedback 2, which is a great joystick for flying helicopters, but it's not, of course, it's not as good as a full-size control that I usually use, so you need to make smaller adjustments, of course, than you would big cyclic. So seems about right, but yeah, it pretty much is very similar to the MD500, and I would expect the MD500, being a fully articulated rotor blade system, to be more responsive actually than a Jet Ranger. Jet Ranger is supposed to be really forgiving, sort of has that laggy response where you give control input and then you wait for it to take effect, and you sort of have to anticipate a little bit more with your control inputs. Now this one seems rather sensitive. I mean, I like that in helicopters. I love responsive aircraft, but this one is, yeah, more responsive than I would have imagined. However, other than that, it flies pretty great. Sounds pretty great too. I think the rotors are the... Seems like I have the rotor sound from outside the aircraft quite a bit louder than I usually would think. You know, I can sort of hear the typical whine of the LSN 250. So the typical Jet Ranger sound. I hear that it's there, but it also sounds that it seems that the outside sound of the aircraft is mixed in with there quite extensially. I will, or maybe I have a window open. That might explain it. So just ahead is Ladigue Island, cruising at around, can't read it, a little bit over 100 knots, which is good. Realistic, pulling 80% torque, which is pretty much the upper limit. I think you can go 85, but that's really pushing it. So yeah, this is just the first flight for you to give you guys an impression of how the helicopter behaves. I think it behaves fine. Of course, I'm going to have to do a little bit more flying to get to know the machine. But so far, yeah, it's pretty great. Let's see how the decel works. A lot of products have payware and freeware helicopters have quite a long decel, so that the aircraft sort of floats. Now I'm going to reduce collective, and I should reduce pedal to keep the ball centered. And I'm going to slow her down. Try and slow her down at least. Might give a little bit of right pedal now, and yeah, it works quite good. Deceleration seems accurate. We can hear the blade slap now, which is also a nice feature. And then we're going to go for the helipad and put her down. Make sure that once you get below 30 knots, that you're not descending too quickly. Might have to add in a little bit of collective now. So yeah, my collectors are also not that accurate, using just simple, really simple. Common joystick, so more left pedal. Get her steady now. And take out the remaining speed. Skids are a little bit behind the pilot seat, or only starting where the pilot sits. Oh, that was too quick. Sort of missing a little bit of fine-tune here. And we're down. Let's have a look. Pretty much nailed it. Now let's look at the replay. So exteriors are very, very good. just looks like the real thing. That was the thing that was bothering me with the Dreamfoil 206. It was just off on some, yeah, some of the modeling. So you can control. Whoop, that was the first one. You can control it quite well, actually, and I can live with that. Could be a little bit smoother, but yeah, I'm on my mobile setup, so my collective isn't that good. So that's it. Let's shut her down, and I'm gonna tell you, this one looks pretty good, feels pretty good. CowanSim did a very good job again with this helicopter. Just let's roll down the throttle now. Oh, while still on replay mode, roll off the throttle. We don't need avionics anymore. A little bit hard to get those click spots. But yeah, it feels very, very good. Feels great. As I said, a little bit on the sensitive side. This is something that I did not expect. I would have expected it to be a little bit more laggy. The Dreamfoil 206 is, but this one feels pretty close to the MD500 by CowanSim, and I would have expected it to be a little bit less responsive, actually, or a little bit less direct, so to speak. I need to try out with my full-size controls, of course, to give, you know, the final measurement. But so far, I love it. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this helo. I'm pretty excited that it came out now, and we've been really blessed with new helicopters. You have to wait for 2 minutes before shutting it down. And this one, typical CowanSim, looks very good. 3 modeling is exquisite. You have the engine outlet blur here, and the sound is pretty good. However, inside the aircraft, I think the sounds of the rotors are a little bit extensive. However, might be accurate. You can open the doors. Pretty distorted, the main rotor sound now. Oh yeah, that's great. So let's roll off the throttle now. Oops. There we go. Fuel boost pumps to off. And once the rotors get below 40%, we can engage the rotor brake. So yeah, I pretty much like it. It is awesome. Feels good. I'm gonna have a lot of fun in this aircraft. So that's it for a short little Christmas first flight tutorial. Should you get it? I don't know, but I'm happy I did, and I'm looking forward to do a few more flights of this one. But I'm also very looking forward to flying around with all the other great helicopters that have been released. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for joining in, and see ya.